It is Wednesday, the 20th of September 2023. Welcome to Primetime News right here on Kutv. These are the news making headlines tonight. Kazakhstan government to establish logistics hub in Mombasa to boost export of grains in the region. CS Korea apologizes over insensitive remarks following pressure from public and fellow government officials. Government has a plan to bring on board persons living with disabilities, CS Boris says while appearing before Senate plenary. And Ministry of Health warns against consumption and administration of Tamidol oral solution. Sheila Kinyaga is our sign language interpreter. My name is Joseph Kess. Remember, we are also live on YouTube at Kutv Kenya, and you can interact with us on the X app at Kutv_Kenya and at Kess Joseph Kenya. Now, President William Ruto has invited the Kazakhstan government to make the port of Mombasa a logistics hub for grain exports. Ruto met with Kazakhstan President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, that is United States. The president has also held talks with other heads of state and government in a bid to strengthen multilateral ties. Take a look.
How are you, my brother? Thank you.
In a move aimed at bolstering trade and economic ties between Kenya and Kazakhstan, President William Ruto and his Kazakhstan counterpart, President Tokayev, held bilateral talks in New York during the president's official tour of the U.S. These discussions mark a pivotal moment in the growing relationship between the two nations. The two countries are actively exploring areas of mutual interest in order to foster collaboration and partnerships. These areas include trade, investment, science, innovation, and technology. A notable proposal put forth by the head of state during these talks is the invite to have Kazakhstan take on a substantial role in reshaping Kenya, with a special focus on the port of Mombasa to become a special hub for exporting grain to the region. On his part, President Tokayev conveyed his intention to send a trade delegation to Kenya. The delegation is set to investigate the potential avenues to enhance collaboration. This proposal is set to enhance the economies of both nations, thus solidifying their positions as key players in the global marketplace. Yvonne Kimuma, Kutv.
And after a continued call by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua for leaders to be sensitive to the plight of Kenyans, Trade and Investments Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria has tendered an apology following incessant complaints from the public and being called out for being insensitive by the DP. Kuria is on record telling of Kenyans complaining about increased fuel prices, telling them to dig their own wells. Eliud Muturi has more.
Sasa ukishinda kutoka ya asubuhi mpaka jioni, bei ya mafuta imeongezeka, si uchipe kisima yako. Dunia mzima tunajua bei ya crude oil imeenda juu, na kama wale watu wa makelele wako na kisima, mimi niko tayari kuchipa kesho.
On 15th September, after an upward review of fuel prices to over 200 shillings, Trade CS Moses Kuria did not shy away from arrogantly dismissing the public outcry over the new prices that will have major ripple effects in the economy.
Watu siku hizi wanaongea mambo ya kuteremsha bei ya gharama ya maisha. Bei ya gharama ya maisha hawezi kuteremshwa kwa maandamano. Hasa naona wengine wana shida kwa Twitter kutoka asubuhi mpaka jioni, gharama ya maisha, sio ni upumbavu.
Kuria further pushed his remarks on the X platform, where he said that fuel prices will increase and the price of petrol will hit 260 shillings by February next year, after writing that the prices will increase by 10 shillings each month till then. On the X platform, Kuria supported the president's chief economic advisor David Ndii, who also arrogantly dismissed the plea of Kenyans online over the rising fuel prices. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, upon arrival from Colombia on Sunday, called out Kuria and Ndii for their arrogance, insisting on the need for leaders to treat citizens with respect and dignity, remarks that he reiterated yesterday in Mombasa.
Again, and as I said on Sunday, those of us who have been given the privilege to serve, do so with humility. Have empathy with the people that you take care of. Respect those under you. Address them with respect and decorum. It costs you nothing.
The DP's message might have hit home. Kuria through X on a tweet posted minutes past 2 a.m. today, responding to Gachagua and Senator Boni Halwale's call for his dismissal, has made an unexpected turnaround and is seeking apology. Kuria writes, and I quote, "Dear Kenyans, on Friday 15th September, I made some comments indicating that the price of fuel is likely to go up in the coming months owing to global dynamics. I have since been advised by people like Dr. Boni Halwale and his master that the statement was incorrect, insensitive, and arrogant. I am made to now understand that the price will come down. I apologize profusely, since to err is human." End of quote. Even as Gachagua tries to lessen the arrogance in the Kenya Kwanza team, Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna termed him as the chief of contempt, telling him to stop criticizing Ndii and Kuria. Mutweri Eliud, KUTV.
And Labour and Social Protection Cabinet Secretary Florence Bore was today before the Senate plenary to respond to questions on the employment status of people living with disabilities, PLWDs, in the public sector. The Senate, led by nominated Senator George Mbugua, sought to know the measures the government is taking to ensure compliance with the PLWDs Act number 14 of 2003 that requires the reservation of 5% of all casual, emergency and contractual positions for PLWDs.
Cabinet Secretary for Labour and Social Protection Florence Bore responded to a Senate summon today morning by appearing before the House to give a report on the welfare of people living with disabilities in relation to their employment status in the public sector.
The Persons with Disabilities Act number 14 of 2003 in its current provision is weak on enforcement of the 5% employment requirement. The ministry has developed the Persons with Disabilities Bill 2023, currently before the National Assembly for deliberations.
The legislators, led by nominated Senator George Mbugua, required the CS to provide a report on all persons living with disabilities employed in the public sector, indicating the level of compliance with Section 13 of the Persons with Disabilities Act number 14 of 2003. This section requires the reservation of 5% of all casual, emergency and contractual positions for persons with disabilities.
Government has implemented various programs that promote the rights of persons with disabilities, as well as empowering them to improve their well-being. And some of them include: Kenya is the first country in Africa to develop a digital accessibility standard for persons with disabilities. And the standards provide guidelines for ensuring that products, services, and opportunities are made available or accessible to all, including the persons with disability.
According to the report by CS Bore, the government has established a new registration system to capture and generate socioeconomic data for people living with disabilities for planning purposes, as it targets to bring on board all disabled members into the scheme.
Currently, the portal has registered 5,849 persons with disabilities seeking employment, and 431 employers, consisting of 378 from the public sector, 31 from the private sector, and 22 from the civil society organizations. So far, 322 persons with disabilities have been employed through the
The senators further grilled CS Bore to elaborate on measures the government has taken to create public awareness to help combat stigma targeted at people living with disabilities as required by the Act.
One is building the capacity of ministries, departments, and agencies to effectively spearhead the implementation of measures to mainstream disability in public service. The events are used as forums to educate the public on the inclusion of persons with disabilities in the society. Some of the events include the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, held every 3rd December.
Registration for persons with disabilities is ongoing countrywide in a move to show up their population into the system. About 38,000 beneficiaries from this group are already in the program. Joseph Oyomo, KUTV.
All right, we are taking a short break here on Primetime News. We still have plenty more ahead. Stay with us.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Money, and Sheba looks so much happier now that you're back.
It's not so much about the money for me, but more about what happens next.
Dilla, no one is asking you to settle down, so...
And I won't, but Sheba wants me to be responsible.
I want to tell you that I want to make you happy. You've accepted me, and you've made it easier for me to breathe. And I can't thank you enough. And you know what? I love you so much, my dear.
What's that? Who's there? Who's over there?
Kutoka kuwa jamii ya kuhamahama na sasa kujumuisha kilimo katika mitindo yao ya maisha. Kwenye toleo la kaunti ya Narok, hii ni Boresha Kilimo. Kwani afya bora ni kilimo bora.
Kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha.
Right, welcome back. Let us continue with the broadcast. Now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has promised to effectively deal with terrorism threats in the northern Kenya and upper coastal regions by deploying special forces and alert units to ruthlessly pursue and neutralize armed criminals. Speaking while addressing a security baraza at Wayo Primary School in Tana River County, Kindiki warned that he will take stringent measures against political leaders who incite members of the public who hide behind attempts to address historical grievances.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has warned terrorists and armed criminals who hide in religion and promised to deploy special forces to pursue and deal with them for terrorizing innocent citizens.
We are going to deploy the special forces, special units who are specially trained and equipped to deal with serious crimes, including terrorism and banditry. Na wale vikosi ambao tunaleta hapa hawacheki na magaidi na wanajua jinsi ya kuwashughulikia.
Kindiki said that the government will continue to equip security officers with modern weapons and technology to enhance their capacity to deal with criminals. According to the CS, the officers will also be protected as they ensure safety and security of residents and their property.
We want our security forces to apply the weapons and arms that have been bought by the taxpayers of the people of Kenya to protect the people of Kenya and to protect themselves from dangerous criminals. Na serikali itasimama nyuma yenu, maafisa wetu wa polisi, maafisa wetu wa jeshi, maafisa wote wa usalama.
The CES urged communities living in border areas to coexist peacefully and allow relevant government and judicial institutions to arbitrate whenever there are cross-border disputes, further warning political leaders against inciting violence and destruction of property.
Na mimi nimesema kiongozi wowote katika taifa la Kenya, hawe na cheo gani, hawe na ngazi gani, hawe amepigiwa kura ngapi, ambaye atachochea uhalifu na kuchochea raia na wananchi kuvuruga amani, nitamkamata, nitamweka ndani.
The Interior Ministry has been on the forefront in finding solutions to put an end to terror attacks. For instance, on June 2nd this year, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki had revealed that the government has a 20 million budget to deal with the Al-Shabaab terrorist group based in Somalia. Kindiki has said that the security agencies in the Kenya-Somalia border region will have advanced equipments to fight terrorism. Anyango Sylvia, KUTV.
And the Ministry of Health, through the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, that is PPB, has issued a warning against consumption and administration of Tamidol oral solution, which contains 120 milligrams per 5 milliliter of paracetamol in 60 milliliter bottles. The warning comes in response to complaints about the quality of the oral drug. The manufacturer of the drug is Biopharma Limited. According to the board's statement, it has been determined that the Tamidol oral solution did not meet the required standards for market authorization. As a result, the PPB strongly advises all pharmaceutical outlets, healthcare facilities, healthcare professionals, and the general public to immediately halt the distribution and consumption of this drug. And Africa has been called upon to lead the fight against climate change by coming up with new renewable energy sources and technology. In today's session of the IEEE African event, governments responsible for 63% of world emissions have committed to make contributions and commitments in combating this menace. Edwin Nyamo tells us more.
The IEEE African event held at Kenya School of Monetary Studies entered day 2 today, where panelists centered on the role of technology in the fight against climate change. According to engineer Isaac Kiva, governments should invest in renewable energy to achieve universal access to electricity, adding that separating energy for each county will help address the energy needs.
We are also very keen to see what we are doing globally on SDG 7, on energy access, renewable energy, and energy efficiency. So we are committed to that. And I will also say here that our political class is supporting this cause.
Saifar Rahman, IEEE African president, stated that engineers should be empowered to give out the right technological ideas, highlighting that policymakers should be involved in decision making.
We have other solutions, like hydrogen cars. I saw a taxi in Berlin 2 weeks ago. Hydrogen ICE engine, no pollution. Hydrogen, not gasoline. And fuel cells. So don't keep your option in one basket. Keep the options open, including Kenya, not just only EV.
Transport sector in Kenya contributes 20% of carbon emission, and according to keynote speakers, electrical cars will play a major role in minimizing this. However, there should be implementation of support system and setting standards for acquiring of electrical vehicles.
Now, on the question of rolling out of electric vehicle charging stations, part of the research and finding studies we did is, of course, there will be an impact to the grid. So we developed a way of optimally placing electric vehicle charging stations, one based on transport demand, and two, of course, based on the strength of the grid. How the grid is strong and robust to taking these EV charging stations.
The use of liquid petroleum gas has also been echoed as one of the main factors of fuel transition in order to raise awareness of the widespread benefits of clean cooking.
We look at the science itself of the stove. How do we test the stoves, and we tell you, okay, what are the efficiencies? What are the emission levels? Yeah, because the government passed a policy that it's better. They would like to move from the 25% to maybe 45% efficiency levels for the biomass. Yeah, but what kind of brands do we have on the market? What are the efficiency levels? This is very relevant as data sets.
Today's discussion was in line with President William Ruto's agenda of Africa's leading the race on climate change and coming up with alternative technological innovation to help fight the menace. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
Right, and on matters business, the government is targeting to set tighter scrutiny on Chinese imports as it intensifies a purge on entities and individuals who undervalue products shipped from the Asian nation, denying Kenya billions of shillings in tax revenue. In other business news, the housing development levy is expected to grow by 40.8% in the next 4 years due to expected wage growth for salaried employees. This is according to Housing Principal Secretary Charles Hinga. Take a look at this and more on tonight's Business Wrap with Charles Kirubi.
The Treasury, in its revenue strategy, plans to deploy the Kenya Revenue Authority for special partnership with its counterpart agencies in other jurisdictions to determine the true value of imports shipped in from China. The government reckons that the value of most of these products have not been accurately priced, leading to tax leakages running into billions of shillings. The tax measures to be implemented include to establish a clear framework on the exchange of information EOI with other tax jurisdictions for both domestic taxes and customs to ensure the flow of information and transfer pricing posed by multinationals. Elsewhere, Kenya Power stated that households near transformers will continue to pay 15,000 Kenya shillings for connection to the national grid under the third phase of subsidies program, a relief from 35,000 Kenya shillings connection phase when the project began in 2015. This comes as the utility firm disclosed that the new phase targets to add about 15,000 new homes to the national grid beginning September next year. Meanwhile, the housing development levy is expected to soar by 40.8% to hit 89 billion shillings in the 2026-2027 financial year, up from 63.2 billion in the current fiscal cycle. Estimates from the draft budget review and outlook paper BROP show the contributions will stand at 70 billion shillings in 2024-2025 fiscal year and 87 billion shillings in financial year 2025-2026. The expected growth has partly been attributed to anticipated general wage growth for salaried employees over the 4 years, along with the growth in the number of persons in wage employment. Charles Kirubi, KUTV.
And on matters counter-up, the Judicial Service Commission is set to visit Kerugoya and Murang'a law courts, among many other courts in the country, with an objective of evaluating the effectiveness and efficiency in delivery of justice within the courts. Elsewhere, members of the Orange Democratic Movement, that is ODM party in Kilifi County, have called on party leaders to cease sibling rivalry and concentrate on service delivery to the electorate. This and more on tonight's Counter-Up with Cynthia Nderito.
As part part of fulfillment of its mandate, the Judicial Service Commission adopts various strategies to promote and facilitate the independence of the judiciary and the efficient, effective, and transparent administration of justice. Speaking during the inspection of the Kerugoya Law Court, JSC Vice Chairperson Macharia Njeru stated that the independence of the judiciary will make the society feel secure.
We are speaking also to all other state organs that judiciary needs to be given room and also facilitation to continue serving the public in all the matters that relate to its mandate, because an independent judiciary is useful and is good for everybody.
Also in Murang'a, the JSC Vice Chairman Macharia Njeru has asserted the Commission commitment towards enhancing the administration of justice, saying that the institution of the judiciary is there to ensure access to justice for all affirmed.
The Constitution is very clear about what is the mandate of Salaries and Remuneration Commission and the mandate of the Judicial Service Commission. We are quite clear that when it comes to matters of our staff, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission has nothing at all to do with it. It is our responsibility.
In other news, members of the Orange Democratic Movement came together for a party unit in Kilifi. Led by Kensa Ondieki and John Lugani, the members called out Shela Ward member of County Assembly Toha Abdul Karim and his Watamu Ward to stop listening to a few individuals insulting and undermining fellow leaders since they were newly elected.
Mheshimiwa Mung'aru, wacha kudivide watu wa Kilifi. Hizo mbinu zimepitwa na wakati.
Namuomba Twahili na ninamuonya kuanzia leo, pahali popote anapozunguka na gavana aachane na mambo kwa watu wa kina Mbeyu na afanye kazi yake.
The main agenda is to call out for unity in the party and to ensure peace is promoted and to enhance awareness among the party leaders. Simpenderitu, KUTV.
All right, we are taking another short break here on Primetime News. We'll be back with sports news. Stay with us.
Majuka ni kama unarusha mikono, tingisha kichwa chungu usipite kisogo. Mbona nyinyi na wawasha nkikula nyama choma tu firifiri na give me your hand and shoulder. Niko na pesa kushinda babako. Kasikia vibaya uko kweni. Kasikia vibaya. I want to flex my love.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Right, welcome back. Let us take a look at sports news. Now, double Olympic champion and marathon world record holder Eliud Kipchoge has touched down in Germany ahead of the much-anticipated Berlin Marathon scheduled to take place this weekend. The Berlin Marathon is one of the most prestigious marathons in the world as it presents the top echelons in the sport of marathon running, and this year's edition will see a total of 45,000 elite and amateur marathoners from across the world take part. Kipchoge, who has excelled in the marathon, winning it 4 times in 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2022, while setting a world record in 2018 and 2022, will be joined by 2022 London Marathon champion Amos Kipruto alongside Jonathan Mayo, Ronald Korir, Philemon Kiplimo, and Mark Korir. The Berlin Marathon will take place on Sunday, September the 24th in Germany. And on matters UEFA, Manchester City began their UEFA Champions League title defense with a routine 3-1 win against Red Star Belgrade at the Etihad Stadium, with a goal from Rodrigo and a brace from Julian Alvarez sealing the victory. As Lazio of Italy managed to get a 1-1 draw against Atletico de Madrid after a 94th minute equalizer from Lazio's goalkeeper Ivan Provedel ensured they shared points, while Paris Saint-Germain proved too strong for Borussia Dortmund with a convincing 2-0 win at the Parc des Princes Stadium. UEFA Champions League group stage action continues tonight when Bayern Munich lock horns with Manchester United at the Allianz Arena in Munich, while Arsenal will welcome PSV Eindhoven at the Emirates Stadium in the Gunners' first Champions League match since 2017. The matches kick off at 10 p.m. Kenyan time. Right, that is a 4-1 win for Bayern Munich tonight and a 2-1 win for Arsenal tonight. Thank you so much for making time for us tonight on Primetime News. Our sign language interpreter has been Sheila Kinyaga. My name is Joseph Kess. Until we meet again next time, enjoy the rest of your week and have a good night.
Tingisha kichwa chungu sivute kisogo. Mbona nyinyi na wawasha nkikula nyama choma tu firifiri na give me your hand and shoulder. I'm feeling vibes on vibes. I'm a ticking dynamo. Tell them twerking. Pull up the lambas I work so hard, you know I don't want no stress. I don't get time to
schedule in meeting the 17 Sustainable Development Goals they adopted in 2015 and hoped to achieve by 2030.
Despite commitments to eradicate poverty and to reduce hunger being at the core of this agenda, alarmingly, 1.2 billion people were still living in multi-dimensional poverty as of 2022. It is estimated that approximately 8% of global population, or 680 million people, will still be facing hunger in 2030.
Young leaders also raised concerns about the lack of progress toward the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, demanding action to combat climate change and concrete solutions to empower their generation.
68 million young people are looking for jobs. All over the world, millions of young people are unable to access social protection coverage. Mental health problems like depression and anxiety are a serious concern for young people.
World leaders did manage to adopt on Monday a political